weeks after spring break. So we'll come back on Monday the 16th. Probably do, I don't know, somewhere half of Antigone or more. Finish it on Wednesday. I don't think we should have any problem doing that in 2 days. Maybe a quiz on Wednesday. If there is a quiz, assuming we finish on Wednesday, I will probably post a blank copy of the quiz to D2L so that you can use it to help study for the exam. That will be on then Friday. That'll be an in-class. That covers everything from the beginning of the semester. Okay? It'll be objective. It'll look a lot like the quizzes, but a lot longer. I don't know how many questions total. 50 or so, probably. It'll be fill in the blank like this. There will be extra credit. Might be some short answer, might be some multiple choice, some true, false. I think I said, something like at least 50% of that will come almost verbatim from the quizzes, okay? Which is why it's important to keep. And then the following week, we'll cover the material that's on the syllabus for, I don't remember what the day is. It was like a week ago. February 28th, for reading imaginative literature. That's just going through those sections and hitting the bold terms. And hopefully, we may not, hopefully get to Nathaniel Hawthorne's short story, The Minister's Black Veil. Okay? If we don't do that then we'll do Minister's Black Veil on March 25th. And then O'Connor's Good Man is Hard to Find the following class period, which is the 27th. Excuse me. Then we'll have a short exam just on short fiction the day after, whatever the next day will be after that. 27th to, that's the wrong syllabus. The 30th, okay? So this might get pushed back to the 27th. This would be pushed back, the Hopper part would be pushed back to the 25th. And then the exam's going to be either March 27th or March 30th. And then we'll start the poetry. And then we'll be pretty much on track. Because the way I've got it, some of these days when we're doing poems, we've only got one or two, but some of those poems are pretty long and complex. And that's why I've only got, one or two or three a day. Okay. Kind of continuing. I don't think I've added anything to what I had on the board on Wednesday for some of the themes in Oedipus, but let's pick up, just back up slightly. I think it is from where we left off. I think we left off on 1470. I want to back up to 1469. Bottom of the page. Now, if you remember, a messenger has come in from Corinth, okay? And the messenger is there to tell Oedipus, people of Corinth want you to be king because the king of Corinth has died. Oedipus was raised in Corinth. Oedipus thinks the king of Corinth was his father. He's about to learn otherwise. So bottom of 1469, the messenger says, you're afraid of that because Oedipus has just related the prophecy. I'm fated to kill my father, sleep with my mother. So I ran away. You're afraid of that? That kept you out of Corinth? He says, my father, old man. So I wouldn't kill my father. So that's it? Well, I can put you at ease. Oedipus, oh man, I'd reward you greatly for that. That's what a rich reward you'd have. Okay? So you'd come home. That is, if I can put you at ease, you'll come home and be king. Okay? Because that's his whole purpose in being there. Oedipus says, explain. 1107. If you ran from them, meaning his parents, always dodging home, Oedipus, always terrified Apollo's oracle might come true. Okay? So he means, ever since leaving Corinth, over 20 years previously, he's never been back. Okay? Messenger, yeah, I get it. You'd be covered with guilt. I mean, if you killed your father, slept with your mother, I mean, there's all kinds of guilt there. That's right. So, don't you know? Top of 1470, line about 1110, 1111 probably. Don't you know? You've really nothing to fear. Why? I mean, if I'm their son, Polybus was nothing to you. That's why, not in blood. What do you mean? What are you saying? Polybus was not my father, and no more than I am. That's pretty clear. I'm not your father. Polybus was like me. He wasn't your father either. He and I are equals. How can my father equal nothing? Oedipus is telling the messenger here, you're a nothing. You're a zero. Why? Well, essentially, he's a slave too. Okay? You're nothing to me. Messenger, very good. You're smart. You can learn. Neither was he. That is, Polybus was also nothing to you. Now, emotionally, Polybus was a lot to Oedipus. I mean, he was his father. He was the one who raised him. He is saying, the messenger is saying, blood-wise, DNA-wise, he's nothing to you. Then why did he call me his son? Explain that. Well, you were a gift. Years ago. In fact, I gave you to him. Now, the messenger has already said, I'm not your father. So, it's not like you were mine and I gave you to him. He's just saying, no, I was kind of a middleman. All right? He took you from my hands. Oedipus, from another's hands? And how can he love me the way he did? See, Oedipus is having trouble wrapping his mind around how can a father love an adopted son the way he loved me? Okay? He says, because he was childless. His early years without a child made him love you all the more. And how did you get me? Did you buy me? Now, by saying, did you buy me, what Oedipus is saying is, was I the child of a slave? Was I a slave on my own? Did you find me by accident? I stumbled on you down the woody flanks of Mount Kithaeron. Kithaeron's already been mentioned twice. It's been mentioned by the chorus, and it was mentioned by Jocasta, Jocasta, Oedipus's wife, who mentioned her own little prophecy, the prophecy that came to she and her husband that said what would happen from a son that they would produce. And she said, so my husband took him, bound his legs, gave him to a servant, and the servant abandoned him on the flanks of Kithaeron. And now Oedipus has been told he was found on the mountain. So close. That is, that's nearby. What were you doing here? Passing through? That is, were you traveling? And the messenger says, no, I was watching over my flocks, grazing them on the slopes. Because Kithaeron, if I remember the geography, Kithaeron is kind of between Thebes and Corinth. Okay? So you're a herdsman. A vagabond scraping for wages. He's implying the low status of the messenger. And in implying his low status, he's kind of exalting himself again. Messenger, your savior too. Okay, don't forget that. Yeah, I was a herdsman. I was, almost the lowest level of society, but I also saved your, you know what? When you picked me up, was I in pain? See, he's taking savior to mean I would have died if you hadn't. What exactly? Look at your ankles. Oedipus goes, oh, you have to bring that back up. I mean, his name means swollen foot, club foot, because of what happened to his ankles as a child. Now, Oedipus grew up with his ankles always being that way. He never knew why his ankles were that way. Now he's getting the story. Because what happens when you drive a nail through somebody's ankles, just like if you were to do it to the wrist and through the bone itself, is the bone tries to protect and heal itself by producing more bone. And so you get these big bony protrusions all around. So you'd have the same thing. Think of your ankle bone, sticks out on both sides. Now think of a whole bunch of bone added onto that. He says, I've had that mark I've had that as long as I can remember. Yeah, and you got your name from that too. Who did it? Who did this to me? Mother? Father? Tell me. I don't know. The one who gave me to you, or gave you to me, he can tell me. Who is that? Another shepherd. Who? Do you know? I don't know. He said he was a servant of Laius. And Jocasta turns, we're told, sharply. Why? Louder. She knows. That's Jocasta's beginning of recognition. As soon as he says, because she's standing there listening to all this, and she's starting to put two and two together, and as soon as he says, the guy who gave you to me was a servant of Laius, she goes, oh no. Because she looks at her husband and also realizes, it's my son. And I've been sleeping with him for the last 20 years. And we got a mess of kids. 2 daughters, 7 sons. Okay? The king of the land. Wait, Oedipus. Laius? You mean the Laius, the one whose death we're trying to find out, who was the cause of? Yeah, that's him. That herdsman was his man. Is he still alive? Notice, he's talking to the messenger. The messenger's just come from Corinth. How is he going to know? Ask them. Because what you have is you have Oedipus and the messenger speaking, and Jocasta standing there, and out in front of them in the orchestra, the area where the chorus moves, is the chorus. And the chorus represents all the people of Thebes. Okay? And so he says, ask them, they'll know. That is, there's got to be somebody at Thebes who knows if this guy's still alive. Well, what has Jocasta already told him? The herald, remember who was with Laius when Laius was killed? The herald survived. He ran back home, because Oedipus says, when did this happen? Exactly, and she says, let's see here. Herald arrived, just after you got here. Took one look at you and said, send me to Siberia. Send me to work the fields as far away from here as possible. Okay? So, Oedipus says, anybody know him? Time has come to reveal this once for all. To reveal what? To reveal the knowledge that is hidden, to reveal what's in the dark. Okay? Leader, I think he's the very shepherd you've already sent for. But Jocasta, she'll know. He turns to his wife. Line 1155. You remember the man we just sent for? Is that the one he means? Why ask? Now earlier, when they were talking about prophecies, she said, go ahead, tell me. And he tells her about, the thing about sleeping with women. She says, don't worry about that. Men often dream of sleeping with their mothers and all that kind of stuff. Now she's saying, shut up. Just don't go there. Yeah, I know. That's where Freud, Did I put that up the other day? That's where Freud gets the whole Oedipus complex from the two lines in the play that talk about men often in their dreams dream of sleeping with their mothers. There's another play about a woman named Electra. And in that play, there's a line about daughters wanting to sleep with their fathers. And it's what gives us the Electra complex, that daughters want to replace their mothers in their father's beds. The Oedipus complex is that boys, men, want to replace their fathers in their mother's beds. He gets it all from these two, totally wackadoodle, okay, in my opinion. So, she says, why ask? Old shepherd, talk empty nonsense. That was a long time ago. Don't worry about that now. Don't give it another thought. Don't even think. In other words, she's saying, Oedipus, you need to stay dumb. You need to stay ignorant. Give up now with a clue like this? In other words, this is the hidden key. If I get that hidden key, I can unlock all the boxes. All the knowledge will pour forth. Fail to solve the mystery of my birth? Because he's been told, you're not really Merope and Polybus's son. So whose son am I? Not for all the world. That is, you could promise me all the world, and I would give all that up if I could find out who I am. Stop, she says, in the name of God. Notice it's the lowercase g. Why? It's not the Judeo-Christian God. It's in the name of divinity. In the name of everything that is holy. Stop. If you love your own life, call off this search. My suffering is enough. What does she mean, my suffering is enough? Is she saying, don't add to my suffering? What does she know that Oedipus doesn't know? That she's his mother. That his children are his siblings. That he killed her husband, his father. I mean, she's already put all that together. So why does she say, my suffering is enough? She doesn't want him to suffer too. She's saying, my suffering's enough for both of us. In fact, it's really enough for everyone. And she's saying, she will do what with that suffering? What else will she do? She'll take it to the grave. That is, she'll take the knowledge she has to the grave. If we take her words literally, she's saying, Oedipus, just shut up and drop it. And we'll go back in the house and we'll pretend nothing has happened. I think, yeah, eyes go, what? Because that means we'll go back in and we'll be husband and wife and we'll keep having sex, even though she knows what that means. Okay? Because what's going to happen if they go back in and he says, come on, and she says, nope, never again. You're not touching me, I'm not touching you.
Oh, no.
He'll either know or he'll really wonder. Okay?
Not too.
Courage. Courage. What's he mean? You got to be willing to face suffering. You got to be willing to take it on. Even, more dramatic irony, even if my mother turns out to be a slave, and I a slave 3 generations back, you would not seem common. See, Oedipus is totally missing it. What's he assuming? What's he thinking?
It's not that big of a deal. Anyway, it's not like that.
What's the that?
The mom, wife, who his parents are. Yeah.
Okay, those are 2 different things. I mean, I get where you're going. What's Oedipus notice what Oedipus said. Even if my mother turns out to be a slave. He's thinking this shepherd of Laius that deposited him on the mountainside was a slave of Laius, and the baby was his, not Laius's. Oedipus is thinking, oh, I get it now. I'm not the son of a king and queen. I'm the son of a slave. That's why he says to his mother, to Jocasta, even if my mother turns out to be a slave, you would not seem common. That is, that would do nothing to your appearance. That would do nothing to how people respect you. Okay? Why is it dramatic irony? Well, she is his mother, and she's going to seem even more than common. Okay? But it having nothing to do with the slave. Common there meaning low, base. All right? She says, no, listen to me. I beg you, don't do this. The do this, that's question the shepherd. Just don't. Listen no more. I must know it all. See the truth at last. There's the sight, truth, the knowledge. Okay? I gotta know. Is this, just an interesting question. Is this, I gotta know. Is this Oedipus's hamartia? Is this his thing that often gets translated his fatal flaw? He just can't stop himself. He just has to always, pry into things. Like the riddle of the Sphinx, for example. So, she says, no, please. For your sake, I want the best for you. Well, from her position, from her perspective, what is the best for Oedipus?
Shut up.
Shut up. Why?
She wanted to find out if he's been married to his mom.
What phrase do we sometimes say that has ignorance in it?
Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss. Bliss! Perfect joy. Better not to know. There are some things, I think, it would be better not to know. Here's an example. This is a worldwide kind of example. The world would be a better place in some ways. Okay? If Robert J. Oppenheimer and Edward Teller and all the guys who worked in the Manhattan Project hadn't figured out how to split the atom, the atomic bomb. Okay? I said in some ways, I'm one of those who happen to think Truman did the right thing by dropping the bomb. Okay? It ended World War II awful lot quicker than it would have. And a lot fewer people died than would have died if there had been a full-scale American invasion of the Japanese islands, for example. Okay? Millions would have died with that. Okay? But what's the downstream effects?
Nukes.
We got lots of nukes. And today, we don't know who has all the nukes, right? Okay, so that's, that knowledge would be better back in the bottle. Never going to happen, by the way. So, I want the best for you. She's saying, I want you to live a happy life. Your best is more than I can bear. You're doomed. You're doomed. Doomed? What's that really mean? You're damned. You're judged already. May you never fathom who you are. Fathom means plumb the depths of knowledge. May you never fully understand who you are. It's almost like she's going, please, Apollo, Zeus, kill him now. Kill him before he knows. So, bring me the servant, the herdsman, Jocasta. Man of agony, that is the only name I have for you. Man of agony, agonistes, or protagonist, first chief main sufferer. Okay? That no other ever. She runs in the palace, throws the doors closed. Okay, she started that with, "Ay," that is, she's yelling. She goes in the palace, and the doors are closed, and there's silence. And the leader's like, "What's she doing, Oedipus? It's awful quiet in there. You should probably go find out." And Oedipus, "Don't worry about it. I must know my birth, no matter how common it." See, he's thinking he's lowly born. He's an average Joe. He's not, I am Oedipus, as he puts it. "I must see my origins face to face." The face just went in. Face to face means he has to do what, by the way? What do you do if you get ready to get in a fight with somebody? I mean a real fight. You go face to face, right? You don't say, "I'm going to fight you," and keep backing away, because you can't get into a fight that way. Even if it's a verbal fight. You get up close. You get in their face. Oedipus is saying, "I'm going to confront this reality." Right? Maybe she's mortified by my birth. Yeah, that's true. What does the word mortified mean? Made dead. And what happens while Oedipus is talking here? She's made dead. She makes herself dead. Because when she went inside and stopped yelling, well, the chorus is going to come out in a moment and go, "Oedipus, your Costa's dead." How? She ran in. We're told, page 1473, okay? Gotta take that back. Did I skip the place? Where is it? Okay, there it is. He's going to be told later, a messenger is going to come out from the palace and say, "Your wife killed herself." He says, "She ran straight to her rooms, 1373 or so, flinging herself across the bridal bed, slamming the door behind her, and she hangs herself." And I kind of think she hangs herself over the bed. Just nice symbolism there, because the bed was her downfall, essentially. So go back to 1470. Take it back. 1472. Got 15 minutes. So Oedipus says, "I got to find out, I have to know," etc., etc. So the chorus says, "All right," and the chorus says some things. Oedipus comes back out, and the shepherd is brought in. Okay? The leader says, "Yep, that's one of Laius' old shepherds." So Oedipus says to him, "Did you serve Laius?" "Yeah, I did." Okay? He asked him what kind of work he did, herding the flocks, blah, blah, blah. "Where?" "Here." He said, Kithron sometimes, foothills. And then Oedipus points to the messenger. "You know this man?" He looks at the messenger, he looks at Oedipus, he says, "What? This one right here." He says, "I don't know, maybe." "Well, how long ago was it?" "At least 20 years. People's appearances change in 20 years. He's like, "I don't know." Plus, he's an old man at this point. Okay? Messenger, let me refresh his memory. "Remember that time when we were tending the flocks and you had the baby whose ankles were pinned together and you gave him to me?" Why rake up? Line 1257. That again. That is why. And he uses the verb rake up. In other words, this is like matter that has been settled into the ground. And he's doing what? He's stirring it all up. He says, "Well, look, here's the baby you gave to me. Look at his ankles. Damn you, shut your mouth," the shepherd says. In other words, ixnay unto Oedipus, So, Oedipus starts questioning the shepherd again. He wants to find out the truth. What does he threaten him with? In fact, he does more than threaten him with. He has his arms pulled behind him. He keeps pulling the arms behind. And he's like, ow, that hurts. And he keeps pulling the arms behind. Did you give him that child? I did. 1272. I wish to God I died that day. Okay? So they keep motioning to his men for torture. I gave it to you. I just told you. Was it yours, Oedipus asks? Was it someone from your house? That is, okay, so you were a shepherd. Was it your wife? Was it your daughter's child? It wasn't mine. I got it from someone. Who? Whose house? No, I can't answer. Why does the shepherd still, he's being tortured. Why does he not want to answer?
He doesn't want to reveal the truth. He's trying to protect Oedipus.
Is he trying to protect Oedipus? Or is he trying to protect himself? Yeah, I think it's more the latter. Because put yourself in his shoes. If I tell him the truth, I'm a dead man. Okay? His son. He said, I got the baby from someone in Lysis. Who's in Lysis' house? His son. They said it was his son. But the one inside, your wife, she'd tell it best. My wife? She gave it, yes, my king. What for? To kill it. Her own, how could she? She was afraid. Frightening. It's like everybody in the damn neighborhood knows about the prophecies, right? What? They said he'd kill his parents, but you gave him to this old man. Why? I pitied him. He's a little baby. Little 3-day-old baby who's had his ankles nailed together. He's kind of like, shouldn't do that to little babies. Oh God, the shepherd goes on. Let me back up. I pitied the little baby master, hoped he'd take him off to his own country. Why? Because of the prophecy. If he takes him away from this land, then Oedipus can live his entire life and not have to worry about killing his parents, killing his father, sleeping with his mother. If you are the man he says you are, believe me, you were born for pain. Not you've had to endure. You were born. Your whole purpose in life was to suffer. Oedipus, oh God, all come true, all burst to light. I stand revealed at last, cursed in my birth, cursed in marriage, cursed in the lives I cut down with these hands. Notice, Oedipus, I should have these truths. Oedipus is essentially trying to flee all of these things. And he's trying to find all of these. He's trying to find the light. He's trying to find sight. He's trying to practice freedom. He wants knowledge. And every time he does, he just kind of throws himself back into the darkness, the ignorance, etc., etc. So, Oedipus rushes through the doors, and the chorus is like, man, life sucks. That's pretty much what they say. Okay? A messenger comes out. And the messenger says, got some bad news. Leader, what is it? The queen's killed herself by her own hand. That's pretty bad. What else has happened? Oedipus went in, found her body hanging there, and does what?
Grabs the dress hooks and
he takes the two brooches that she has on her dress that are, probably shaped something like this, and they've got big stick pins, and this is a little hinge so it can fold over. He takes those off, he opens up the pins, and he sticks them in his eye sockets and does this. Gouges them out. We don't see that. That all happens off stage, okay? It wasn't allowed in ancient Greece. The leader, poor man, the misery, bottom of page 1477. Has he any rest now? Okay? And the messenger says, no, he's shouting. And that Oedipus comes back out. Talks about his agony, talks about his destiny, talks about the sorrow to come, etc., etc. He hears the chorus. He says, thank you. You've always been loyal to me. You've always shown compassion and such. And the chorus is like, man, what'd you do that for? Why did you blind yourself? And Oedipus says, so I don't have to see what's around me, because what's around him? We're going to see them brought out in a moment. His two little daughters. He's kind of saying, I can't look at them anymore. Why? Because they're my sisters. Ew. It's just wrong. Okay? He says I should have died, etc., etc. Page 1500. Line 1500. What I did was best. Don't lecture me. No more advice. What I did, not killing father sleeping with mother, but finding out was best. Don't lecture me. I, with my eyes, how could I look my father? What I did is also taking his eyes out. Why? Because he knows he's going to die at some point. And he's saying, and when I die, when I go down into Hades, not the Christian idea of hell, just the underworld, when I go down there and see my father, I won't see my father. Because I won't be able to look on him and go, hi, Dad. Sorry, didn't know it was you. Okay? So he goes on, he talks about the mountain where he has been, and he talks about Polybus and Corinth, etc., etc. And Crayon comes out. Top of 1481. And Crayon says, I'm not coming to mock you, Oedipus, or to criticize you. And then he speaks to the chorus. Come on, don't you guys have any... Where's your decency? He shouldn't be out here. He was king. He should be inside. He should be hidden from everybody. People shouldn't see this. Okay? So Oedipus tells Crayon, drive me from the land. Why? His curse. His curse on the slayer of lives. And because that's what Apollo said to do. Oedipus has got to leave. Okay? He says, I will, don't worry. But I sent for word to the oracle to make sure that's what he wants done. Notice what Crayon is doing here. He's not jumping to any conclusions. Yeah, I know that's what the oracle said. I want to get a second opinion. Okay? So, Oedipus and Crayon talk back and forth. Oedipus says, bless you, Crayon, etc., etc. And Antigone and Ismene are brought in, page 1482. Why? So Oedipus can, with his mind's eye, let's say, see them one last time. Hold them, kiss them, touch them, feel their faces before he's driven from Thebes and will never see them again. Take that back. No, I don't take that back. Yes, he'll never see them again. Okay? So, he says to Crayon, page 1483, now you're the only father they have. So, you raise them. You care for them. Which leads very much to the next play. Okay? Antigone. So, Crayon says, bottom of 1483, you've wept enough. Time to go in the house. Oedipus, I know it's hard. Time's going to be the great healer. Time will help you, etc., etc. And just by the way, the next play is about the daughter Antigone. The last play, Oedipus at Colonus, that's when Oedipus finally dies. Okay? He dies at a ripe old age. I mean, it's like 90 or 100. He's not that old here. He's like 30 maybe. Okay? Now take that back. 40 maybe. All right? So he lives a long life of suffering. And when he finally dies, the gods turn him into a god because of his suffering. Now look at the very end of the play, the chorus. Okay? This is the Exodus. It's kind of the leave taking. It's the going out. Everything's finishing. And the chorus says, people of Thebes, my countrymen, look on Oedipus. In other words, pay attention to him. Watch him. Learn from him. Don't be him. He solved the famous riddle with his brilliance. He rose to power, a man beyond all power. Who could behold his greatness without envy? In other words, everybody looked at him and said, man, I'd like to be like that. Oh, really? You want to be like that? Now, what a black sea of terror has overwhelmed him. Well, jump in the ocean, and what do you see when you're just a few inches below the surface? If you look up, you see the blue sky. It's light. Keep going down. Go down 20, 30, 40 feet. It gets dark. All right? He is being crushed by these waves. And so we get our final two lines. Now, as we keep our watch and wait the final day. What do we keep our watch? Think the opening of Hamlet. What are Bernardo and Marcellus and Francisco doing? They're keeping watch on the battlements. What for? They're expecting something bad to happen. Now, as we keep our watch and wait, what's the final day? Death. Okay? As we wait for death to come to us, count no man happy till he dies. So whatever happiness someone seems to have in this life, it's an appearance. It's a shadow. Why? Because life is what? Full of pain. Count no man happy till he dies, free of pain at last. Think of Hamlet's almost his dying words to Horatio. Absent thee from felicity a while. Absent thee from joy a while. And in this harsh world, draw thy breath in pain. Where's the felicity? In death. It's exactly what Sophocles is saying at the end of Oedipus. Life is pain. And then you die. And then you get released from the pain. Okay, we'll stop there since it is 10:05. Have a good break.